This is going live. Share again.
Come on.
What's up? Okay, let's continue. So we're just explaining Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai's Kal V'chomer, that if you're going to stop somebody at the expense of his life for Pagam Hedyot, meaning to stop somebody from ruining their own life, either through some kind of Gilayot or even murder, so for sure for God. So then the Gemara says, but wait a second, there's a problem with that. It's a very mundane problem. It says, V'chi onshin min hadin, but we don't usually give an onesh min hadin. What does that mean? It means that our onshim, our punishments, are usually learned directly from a pasuk in the Torah. The Torah will say, you're not allowed to do this, and if you do, here's the punishment. That's the punishment. This seems to be saying, okay, we know that for the Avera of either murder or Gila Ariyot, you're allowed to kill somebody. So Kal V'chomer, you're allowed to do something like that for Avodah Zarah. In Shadin, if we know that the punishment for, let's say, Chilul Shabbat is one thing, and then we posited that somehow that Gila Arayot is worse than Chilul Shabbat. Let's say we said that. So then for sure Gila Arayot should be the same, at least as bad of a. That's not a Kal V'chomer that we make. We're not Onshin Min Hadin. Kal V'chomer is a useful tool, but it cannot be used for its punishments. So how can Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai say that that's the rule over here? Now, that's a very interesting. How would you argue with that, by the way? The Gemara is not going to, but how would you argue with that? What would you point out in order to argue with that? Question? By the way, either way, it's probably not. What?
Isn't there like a
That seems to be what it's assuming, but it doesn't feel like that. You don't require hatra over here. You don't require so many other things. You don't need Eidim or anything like that. You just go out and you do it. So it seems very strange. But the Gemara doesn't go that route. It goes a different route. It says, actually, thank you, the idea that Ein Onshim Min Hadin is not muskam upon everybody. It's not unanimous. And in fact, the Gemara wants to argue, Kasever, they're the opinion. So he can say this. He can say this because he believes that you are allowed to give an onesh based on logic. Fine. Next piece. Tanya Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Shimon Omer HaMachalel Shabbat Nitan Tzilo B'Nafsho. You see this? Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Shimon says that you're allowed to kill somebody if they're about to be Machalel Shabbat. Now we don't pass them like this. In fact, the Gemara in Yuma gives about 8 different explanations by different Amoraim and Tanaim about why we don't. And in fact, one of them is the one that we're going to see right now. But the Gemara in Yuma should know just makes a whole to do about it. Gives different explanations. And the Gemara says over here. So he says, you know how he gets this? He gets this from a Gezer Shava between Avodas Kochavim, meaning Avodah Zarah, and Chilul Shabbat. It says Chilul here, it says Chilul there. So just like you're allowed to kill somebody before he does Avodah Zarah, you're allowed to kill somebody before he's Mechalal Shabbat. That's the extent of Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon's argument. It's not going to hold water, I can tell you now. I don't think, we'll see one of the explanations for that in a few seconds. But in general, we don't pass in this way, obviously. We do not hold Pikuach Nefesh is Rosh Shabbat. So being Mechalal Shabbat is not excuse to kill somebody. Good? At least not before he does it. Now here's the famous part. Amar Rav Yochanan, Mishum Rabbi Shimon Bar Tzadak, Nimnu v'gamru ba'aliyat beit nitzeh belod. They counted and they established in the attic of the house of Nitzeh in the town of Lod the following. Kol averot shebatorah im omrim la'adam avor ve'al tihareg ya'avor ve'al yihareg. Chutz me'avodat kochavim v'gilarayat v'shrichut damim. It says they established in this attic that the rule is going to be that all mitzvot in the Torah, if you're given the option of either dying, being killed, or doing the Avera, you do the Avera. Except for the following 3.
Why is it important for us to know exactly where this discussion took place?
That's a great question.
In an attic, in somebody's house, in his attic, in Lod. We're getting very specific. Why do I care where?
I don't have a good answer for exactly why where. However, the scholars and the Magali Asayam and the later Achronim they all assume that the reason why we're being told this information and we're told the context, because it must be, think about this for a second. The names here is Rav Yochanan, okay? This is pretty late, Rabbi Yochanan. He's a Tana, but it's pretty late. It seems like the kind of thing that should have been decided a long time ago, no?
Well, it depends on the circumstances, maybe. Well, there's some of the things the three things they did possible.
Right.
One of them was a very Zora, there's much more prevalent. And after that sort of time.
Right.
More present than I suppose.
Right. So the Achronim all assume that this was pretty much a game time decision. In other words, there were decrees at that exact moment. The reason why they were gathering in this attic was to decide we are being oppressed right now. We're going through a Roman persecution at the moment. We need to decide what are the rules.
And this is one of the hiding places?
Talks about this.
Yeah.
In his book, the Chachamim.
Right.
And he says the reason they mention all these details is because Rabbi Akiva wasn't there. And Rabbi Akiva...
Is it only Rabbi Akiva? Because there's other people
the
that
other
were there as
people
well.
weren't there, but he says
Yeah.
Rabbi Akiva held differently. He held, you can be martyred for other reasons.
Right.
He actually wouldn't have agreed or didn't agree with this psak, and they kind of overruled him.
Well, there are other rules that we're going to see. There are other rules that we're going to see. I'm not sure exactly if it's clear that they were all established in the Aliyah, but at least it says
was accepted this psak.
as the three mitzvot that without any other conditions we say you can never do them, even Yarg Val Yavor, are these three. And it seems that Achronim assumed that it was they had to decide this because it was happening, and that's why they did it.
God suggests the hiding, or
What?
God suggests the hiding?
No, there's a lot of places where they go into attics. It doesn't seem to be that they're hiding. This is the kind of place they used to meet.
They hidden playground, but
Yeah, right.
Right. There's we have other aliyot in the Gemara.
Makes sense.
There are other places where they meet in attics. But either way, so they established that these are the three. Now, these are the three, and there are no others. So the Gemara says, now where do we get these three? So they say, so the Gemara's actually, its first issue is avodas kochavim. Is it really the case that you're not allowed to do avodah zarah even on the pain of death? V'hatanya, there's a bright to Amar Bishmal minayin sheim amru lo la'adam avod avodas kochavim v'al tahareg minayin she'avod yavod v'al yahareg. Rabbi Shmuel didn't seem to be in on this. Rabbi Shmuel said that you should do avodah zarah and not be killed. Talmud Lomar, sorry. Rabbi Shmuel says you might think that would be the case. Talmud Lomar b'chai behem v'lo she'emut behem. That's how you know that you're supposed to live.
that's the same answer for all.
That's the answer for all the 610. 611, I guess, according to Rabbi Shmuel.
Right, but it could be 612.
Right. Good. V'chai behem v'lo she'emut behem yachal afilu b'farhet. So what's Rabbi Shmuel saying? Rabbi Shmuel is saying that he's only talking about avodah zarah, and he says, how do I know that even avodah zarah you're allowed to do if somebody threatens you? Because it says v'chai behem. Now he's not talking about the other two mitzvot, and we'll have to talk about whether or not he agrees or disagrees with the other two. But for now, he's talking about avodah zarah, and he quotes v'chai behem, which is the pasuk that we're going to use for the other 610 mitzvot, right? So we still use his basis, even if we don't agree with this conclusion. So he says, should live with them and not die with them. Maybe this is the case even of doing avodah zarah in public. So he says that it only goes so far. That can be in private, that you're going to do avodah zarah and you're not going to be killed. But when it comes to doing it in public, that's a whole different story, because then you're talking about chilul Hashem.
What does inhu mean?
Say again?
Inhu.
Inhu is they. Inhu da'amar, it's part of the next statement.
Oh.
Inu da'amar. So I keep losing the place. I don't know why. Inu da'amar Rabbi Lazar. The Tanya Rabbi Lazar Omer v'hafta. So Rabbi Yishmael disagrees, but Inu da'amar, meaning those in the attic, they were following in the path of Rabbi Lazar. What did Rabbi Elazar? What did he say? The Tanya Rabbi Elazar Omer v'hafta Hashem Elokecha b'chol ravcha b'chol nafshecha b'chol ma'odecha. You have to love God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mode. If we already know that you have to love Him with all your life, meaning even at the pain of death, you have to love Him with your life, even if you're being threatened to die. Why? So then, why mention the money? B'chol modecha is assumed to be money. If you know that you have to serve him with all your money, then why mention that? Tell you that depending on how a person orients his life, if he's more interested in his money or if he's more interested in his life, so whichever way, you have to serve God even to that extent. You have to be willing to give up your life or your money for before you do avodah zarah.
Specifically, it's his soul. It's whether someone's more physical or more spiritual, both ways. In other words, it's to catch you on.
Nefesh is your life. Nefesh is your life. It's not your soul. In this case, no. There are people who money is more important to them than their lives. Their legacy. Their material wealth, their house, their legacy, maybe.
I just was like with their physical being and with their spiritual being. In other words, both ways you're whether you're more physical or more spiritual. Both ways you've got to give it up.
Yeah. By the way, we think it's funny, but there are people who are willing to give up their life for. If it's not money, then it could be ideals, or it could be both at the same time. Imagine 100% for sports. People have all kinds of things. Some of them more legitimate than others. Imagine somebody who's being, who owns a mom and pop grocery store, and somebody comes in threatening, and they want him to empty the cash. He says, "No, I'm not going to do it." Right? Now at the end of the day, and then he gets shot for it. At the end of the day, what did he get shot for?
For his money.
For money, right? But we kind of understand him, right? There's more to it than just that. Okay. So the Gemara continues. It says, "Gila rayot v'shichut damim." So we understood now avodah zarah. It's all based on the Avtat Hashem. Now what about the other two? Gila rayot u'shfichut damim. Kid the Rebbe, they hold like Rebbe. The Tanya, Rabbi Omer, Rabbi Yonasi says, "Ki kasher yakum ish al re'ehu ritzacho nefesh kein hadavar hazeh." So just like the halacha of when somebody gets up to kill somebody else, so too is this halacha. Now what does that mean? So too is what halacha? What's it talking about? Does Rashi tell us, or we have to look in context? Don't remember. Rashi says, no, Rashi doesn't say anything. Kena davar hazeh refers to the previous thing, which is the attack on the Na'ara Ma'orasa, okay, which is a form of Gila Rayot, so a woman who's been betrothed. In other words, somebody went to go sleep with a woman who was betrothed, that's Gila Rayot. So the Torah itself makes a connection between murder and sleeping with an Na'ara Ma'orasa, Kena davar hazeh. So the Gemara says, what's the connection? It works both ways. You learn from one to the other and vice versa. So they say that just like you're allowed to stop a rapist, a man who's going after a woman, even by killing him, so too you're allowed to stop a rodef, you're allowed to stop a murderer, an attempted murderer, even by killing him. That's one side of the equation. It works the other way as well. If you are the perpetrator, if you're the murderer, you should know that if somebody puts a gun to your head and says, kill him, kill Reuven, or I'm going to kill you, so you're Harag Val Yavor. And from there you learn that also, if someone says, sleep with her, or else I'm going to kill you, so also you're Harag Val Yavor. It works both ways. You learn this halacha to that one and that halacha to this one. Okay. So now, what's remaining though? We have to figure out what's the basis for each one. So we're not talking about Matzilin B'nafsho because we talked about that already. Now we're talking about Yihar Gal Yavor. In other words, what we need to know now is if the chain goes from Ritzicha to Gila Rayot, so then we need to establish Ritzicha. Fine. Once you have the Rotzeach, that's Yarg Val Yavor, Shvichus Damim is Yarg Val Yavor, so then we can get to Gila Rayot. We have to establish Shvichus Damim is Yarg Val Yavor, so we have to do that. We haven't done that yet. So now we're going to do that right now. So Rotzeach Gufei Minala. Rotzeach itself. Where do we get that from? How do you know that a Rotzeach is Yarg Val Yavor? Svarahu. What? Let's see the Gemara, and you tell me if you think that's what the Gemara is saying. So Matthew, you want to say that we're cutting out the legs of the V'chai Behem, and therefore what, we go back to the defaults or something? We have to figure that out, by the way.
Definitely has to be a different.
Right. So you're saying since you're going to be killing somebody else, so the Chai Behem definitely doesn't apply because why should you take precedence? Well, now you're saying something else, right?
Yeah.
So now the Gemara is going to say, Svarahu, it's a Svara. This happened. Someone came to Rabbah and said, the mayor told me that I have to kill somebody else. Below, Katlina left. He said he's going to kill me if I don't do it. He came for a psak. He told him, sorry, you were hoping for a lenient psak. If you want a lenient psak, go to a different rabbi, but I'm going to tell you the truth. My truth is, you have to be killed. Who said that your blood is better than his? Maybe his blood is better than yours. So now we establish that shvichus damim is Yarg Vayavor, and by extension, Gilui Arayos. Avodah Zarah we established with the Va'afta Hashem Elokecha. Now, Kiyater Rav Dimi, when Rav Dimi came, Amar Rav Yochanan lo shanu ela shelo b'shatz gezeres hamalchus. B'shatz gezeres hamalchus, afilu mitzvah kala Yarg Vayavor. They added on to what they said in the attic of Lud. Say, all that stuff, that was all these three mitzvot on their own without any other conditions. However, if it's b'shat shmad, meaning the government has said you're not allowed to do certain mitzvot, then efilu mitzvah kala Yarg Vayavor. Then the threshold goes lower. Any mitzvah is Yarg Vayavor.
Who knows what a mitzvah kala is?
It's saying any mitzvah. It's saying any mitzvah. We're going to go even lower than a mitzvah kala in a second. Kiyata Ravin Rav Yochanan afilu shelo b'shas zeres hamalchus lo amar le b'tzina aber b'farhetsia afilu mitzvah kala Yarg Vayavor. So the Gemara says, and I'll give you another condition. So besides for the big three, and besides for gezeres shmad, there's also farhesia, which we saw a little bit before in Rabbi Yishmael, that farhesia apparently is going to raise the level of every avera. Doing any avera in farhesia, establish what that is soon, is going to be Yarg Vayavor.
Is farhesia because it's hatra?
No, it's because it's public and it's going to be a chilul Hashem.
Is Rabbi Yochanan disagreeing with that is a mistake?
No, lo shanu ella. Lo shanu ella means I'm adding on.
So they would have agreed.
For all we know, it was said in the attic. I don't know. That's what I said before. I don't know whether it was said in the attic, but it's adding on. Now, what does that mean?
It's not the right way.
So good. So Rashi says that there's a certain way of Jews of tying their shoelaces. Right? That there's some kind of style that they used to do. Maybe one of them was more tsanua than the other, but it just seems to be a style. I don't know. They were Boy Scouts. We went to a different Boy Scout troop than they did.
I learned it in the first way.
Of the kachabim to tie it, so you have to tie a different one.
Yeah. That's not what this is. That's not what this is. Right, but that's not what this is. This is
dafka not to do it like the other day.
this is the kesher. This is the knot itself. Yeah, the knot itself. Sheim derech haov de kachavim likshor kach v'derech Yisrael beinyan acher כגון שיש צד יהדות בדבר ודרך ישראל להיות צנועים אפילו שינוי זה שאין כאן, it's some kind of more צנוע way of doing it. Toso says it's after the color. Toso says it's he points out that we have a record of this. Masani uchmi v'lo rami chuti. There's they used to wear black shoelaces.
Who the goyim or
No, us.
I still have black shoelaces.
No, sorry, you're right. Rabbi Natan says the non-Jewish ones were black and the Jewish ones were white. It's apparently machlokas. Machlokas about whether we have the black ones or the white ones. But the point though, at the root of this is that it's even less than a mitzvah kala. Any minhag, any Jewish practice that they try to put an end to it because it's Jewish, we have to uphold it. Even on pain of death. Anytime they're trying to make us violate the Torah. Now, what's the rationale behind all of this? Let's go back for a second and just look at some Rashis. We're not going to go deep into the Makoros right now, but let's just look at some Rashis for some of this. So, for example, here, take a look at Svarahu. Yeah? It's, Svarahu.
It's right opposite where it says Gilyon Shas.
Right. It says Yarg Vayavor at the beginning of the line. And then it says Svarahu. So Svarahu, this is talking about the Shvichus Damim, the blood is redder business. Svarahu Shalot Hitcha Nefesh Chaveiro, Dikatarte, Ibud Neshama, Ve'avera. He says, why? Because in this case, you have two problems. You have number one, you have the Avera of murder, and number two, you have the loss of life on the other side. So it's the loss of life and the Avera versus your life, right? So in any other case, though, you would have loss of life, your life, versus Avera. But here, his life, your life, it balances the scales. The Leka, it says, the Leka ela chada ibud neshama v'hu lo yavor d'chi amar Rachman lavor al mitzvot. When God said to violate the mitzvot, mishum b'chai behem, mishum di'ikara be'einav neshama shel Yisrael. That's because he loves the souls of Bnei Israel more than he loves the mitzvot. V'hacha gaberotzeach keven the sof ika ibud neshama lami hei muter lavor. But since you're getting rid of one of his souls, so why should it be mutter? That's why you're not allowed to do it. In other words, there's this kind of balancing out. Once you balance those things out, so then all of a sudden the Avera kicks back in. That's what Rashi says over here. Let's take a look at another Rashi though. This is an interesting Rashi. Rashi could have just left it alone, right? He could have just said, nobody knows, right? Nobody, he could have said, everybody's equal, right? But he doesn't say that. What does he say? How do you know that your dam is better than your friend's dam? Meaning you're worth more. We'll repeat what he said before. But what did Rashi open the door for? What did Rashi open the door for?
That if someone is not worthy or whatever, if someone's less good than you, someone's a convicted criminal.
What if I do know?
Yeah,
well,
but what if
I do know?
When you pay damages, kofar, right? There's a table for how much people are worth.
Right. So I guess we're assuming that that's not the basis over here. We're not talking about an Evid is worth more than. Although,
I mean, it's principle of there are different.
Right. There are different. Take a look at the Magalah if you can on the source sheet. Those of you who have, share with those who don't. We're going to look quickly at this one. So this is Rav Reuven Margolios, and he wrote as follows. He says, "Yuyan b'sefer Chasidim, shekasav yozer avon laharog bachur haroi laholid mimi shaharag zaken v'zaken v'saris sheina molidim." It would be worse to kill. He's just talking about worse, better. He's not talking about nafkamina exactly, but it's worse to kill a young person who is still in childbearing years, I guess, than to kill somebody who is unable to have children anymore or at all. Sheina molidim. Imagine a case where the mayor put his gun to the head of a 20-year-old virile young man and told him to kill somebody very, very, very old. You can make the argument that it doesn't apply anymore. According to Rashi, Kasav yesh lomer shlonit no mitzvot lidchot elitzal pikuach nefesh al kadei sheyichya v'yikayim mitzvot harbe kedamin and chalel alav Shabbat achat kadei sheyishmor Shabbatot rabba harbe aval gaber ritzicha meichazid edam idach semak tfei b'roi ata laharich yamim yoter michavercha kadei shetomer yidchu chayav shehen muatin v'enan mespeak in the kayim mitzvot harbe b'nei chayav chayacha shehen ru'urim l'kayim mitzvot harbe dilma dama de chavercha semak tfei. Basically, says the Yad Ramah has a different take on it. He says it's all about mitzvahs. How do you know you're going to do more mitzvahs than they are? And even if you're a young person versus an older person, maybe that's not. Maybe being of childbearing years is not the only thing.
Clearly, the young person can live for longer.
No, we don't know that. We don't know that, but we do know that the older one can't have children, if that was going to be the value. In other words, if we're going to use mundane matters like that to make the decision, then you could understand why somebody might do it. Beyond that, by the way, just to bring in Rav Dessler, Rav Dessler's point in the essay that he wrote of Nekudas HaMechira about free will. One of the main points he makes over there is that everybody is born into certain contexts, into environments. And some people are born into environments where it's easy for them to do mitzvot, and it's actually relatively difficult for them to do averos. And other people are born into environments where it's virtually impossible for them to do mitzvot and very easy to do averos. If you take somebody born into a context where the whole family is a bunch of thieves, let's say, for example, for that person, stealing is a big test. Whereas for, I assume, most of the people in this room, it's not a test at all. Every time that person encounters the test of stealing or not stealing, he accrues incredible amounts of zchut. God is so happy with that mitzvah. Whereas when we encounter that same situation, we get nothing.
We're not tempted.
Right? We get nothing. We put on tefillin in the morning, so the only test is whether or not we're going to have. We put on tefillin in the morning, so the only test is whether or not we're going to have kavanah, not whether we're going to put it on, right? But for another person who's struggling with tefillin for whatever reason, so it's very, very difficult. So even at that level, you couldn't possibly ascribe value to a person's averos and mitzvahs.
It's not about, is it the value of the Avera of Mitzvah, is it the level of challenge?
You don't know what God wants. Nobody knows what God wants out of each person.
Change the level of the person.
Right.
You say the same thing in terms of if there's someone who's a tzaddik gamar of Russia or whatever else. You could at the same time say that you don't know if it might be in terms of how do you rate it
from God's perspective.
If he dies, right, then his place in Shemaim is secured, and the other guy needs the 5 minutes or whatever else to make tshuva or whatever else. So you have to get, so it's not clear you would choose it.
What's interesting is that with the way the Margolius Hayam ends is he seems to be arguing, I think he's arguing that no, under no circumstances do we ever start coming up with cheshbonos about who's going to kill and who's we're not going to kill. There are some cheshbonos, sometimes if a person is on death row and you have somebody from outside, there are those kinds of extreme cases, but he does also point out that we do have a concept of triage in terms of saving people. Right? We've done the Gemara, if it's a Kohen or a Levi or a big Talmud Chacham or there's a father and a Rav and a mother and a child. They're all different kinds of kadima, because there are rules of who gets saved first. No, it's who gets saved first. So there, you need a guideline. You need a guideline to know what to do. So over here, it's interesting. They throw the guidelines out the window. They say there are no guidelines for this. Do not make this decision under any circumstances. Okay, so that's Margos Hayam. All right, let's back to the Gemara. Back to the Gemara. Here we go. Gemara says, "V'kama farhesya." How much is public? How many people do you need in order for it to be considered public, such that it's yarg val yabor for even changing your shoelaces or anything? Right? Amar of Yaakov, Amar of Yochanan, ein farhesya pchutza me asara bnei adam. Answer is 10. Okay. Pshita Yisraelim be'inan dechtiv v'nekdashti b'toch b'nei Yisrael. So it pashut that it has to be 10 Jews, because the whole idea of the Chil Hashem over here is v'nekdashti b'toch b'nei Yisrael. It's only Jews that are relevant over here. By the way, there is some dispute over here. It seems to be that one can make the argument that men and women here are equal. There's no reason to assume that this is like a davar shebekdusha, like a minyan. A woman has the same kedusha as Yisrael that a man does, and Chil Hashem affects her the same way that it affects a man. And so it would seem that a woman would be counted towards this 10, just like a man would be counted towards the 10. This is a strange question. You just answered this question, but okay. It says, what about 9 Jews and 1 non-Jew? Tashma. He says, well, I'll prove it to you. Tani Rav Yanai Achva de Rabbi Chia bar Abba Atya Toch Toch. Ktivhacha v'nikdashti b'toch b'nei Yisrael. Ktivhacha hatam hibadlu mitoch ha'eda hazot. Eda. Malahalan asara v'kuli Yisrael. Afkan asara v'kuli Yisrael. So they learned from the Eda that it's 10 and they're all Jews. What's the problem? What's the strange thing over here? Who is the Eda?
It's
No. Hibadlu mitoch ha'eda hazot. It's Korach. It's Adat Korach, right? It's always very strange that we learn basically minyan from Adat Korach. But okay, that's what we do. There's definitely something there. I think I may have said something in the past, but I don't remember what I've said or what I heard. Oh no. But yeah, this is totally not going to work. The battery's dying. It's going to be. We'll see if this works. No. And then it's going to fall over. There's no way this is going to stay. Your hand is blocking it. No, don't. Okay, so let's see how long it lasts now. Okay, now here's the big line. So the Gemara says, wait a second, though. You gave us another rule before about Farhesya. You gave us the rule about Farhesya. Esther Farhesya Have. Esther's encounter with Achashverosh when she goes to sleep with him in order to seduce him and to get him to do what she wants, that was in public. And what does that mean that that's in public? Were they doing it in front of everybody?
Everyone knew she was married to him.
Right, so the Meiri learns from here that Farhesya doesn't have to mean that everybody sees it. It just has to mean that
everybody knows about it.
everybody knows about it.
Oh,
Now,
wow.
the implications nowadays are incredible, meaning everything is Farhesya now.
But what's the Avera here? She wasn't.
Yeah, I was
Esther
gonna
wasn't
say,
married.
what should she do?
Good question. But the Gemara assumes she did something. We'll have to wait for the sources. We're going to have fun with that. But the Gemara assumes that she did, at the very least, she slept with a non-Jew in public.
Was she married to more?
Pinchas killed somebody for that.
Was she married to more than behind that for?
Well, that's a separate issue. But at the very least, she slept with a non-Jew in public. Right?
There
On
wasn't a decree.
purpose.
There wasn't a decree about that.
No, but it was for Hesya. For Hesya is Yargval Yavor, no matter what the Avera is. You could even remove the Avera, by the way, and say it's not an Avera, it's just not Jewish.
Did all of Bnei Yisrael know she was Jewish?
Seems to be assuming that they did.
Because if they don't know that she's Jewish, then there's no
True.
Chil Hashem here.
Well, the Gemara doesn't give any of those answers. It gives two answers.
No. In some way, it could be, well, definitely they didn't know, the locals didn't know,
Achashverosh
anything,
didn't know, yeah.
right? Because otherwise she wouldn't have to do the big reveal. And if the whole thing is that it's not, that in front of them we break our commandments,
Right. Well, the Gemara doesn't give those answers. It gives two different answers. Abaye and Rabba give two different answers. Not clear whether they're arguing, but they give two different answers. Esther for Asyahavi. Amar Abaye. Esther's okay because Esther karka olam haita. Esther karka olam. She was the ground. What does that mean?
She's
She was
passive.
passive. She was passive. That's what it means. Now we'll go into exactly how passive she was and what the implications of that are soon. But I should say that if you do passively, then it's okay. To passively do something that's Yargval Yavor.
Does that imply you were forced?
Yeah, is it rape? Is that?
We'll have to talk about exactly to what degree she was passive and yeah. So Rava Amar Hanat Atzman Shani. Rava says no, it's a different thing. The reason why this was okay was because she wasn't doing it to be Mechalal Hashem. She was doing it because Achashverosh wanted her. So, let's just assume that this is a regular Avera, not one of the big three. Let's assume that for now. So apparently, Rava says there's a heter to violate an Avera even in public, as long as it's clear that the reason why the Avera is being violated is not for the sake of embarrassing a Jew or forcing the Jew to violate Torah, but it's simply because the non-Jew wants something for himself. So, for example, imagine that the non-Jewish government says that you have to work on Shabbos. Okay? Now, their desire to work on the railroad on Shabbos. Okay?
Bridge.
Now, their desire for you to work on the bridge on Shabbos is not necessarily just so that you violate Shabbos. Right? It's because they want you to complete the bridge. Right? That being the case, it's not considered a problem of Farhesya because it's not a Chil Hashem in that sense. They're not causing you to, rebel against your Judaism or forego your Judaism. They're just asking you to do something. It happens to be against the Torah, but you know what? Avor Bal Yaharek, the fact that it's in public is irrelevant. That's the claim that Rava is making. As long as it's for Hanat Atzma. So the Gemara says, Hachanami, Shani, Di Lo Tem Hachi, says, and I'll prove it to you, Ki Hani Kavaki Muniki, Hechi Avina Lahu. They used to go shopping in Jewish stores in order to buy candles for their avodah zarah, right? For their avodah zarah. Now, normally you wouldn't be allowed to give it to them, right? Because you're basically helping them do avodah zarah, which is asur. So you're allowed to do it though because they're doing it for themselves. It's not for you. It's not for you. They're not doing it just to get to you. You're the ones who have the candles. So they want you to sell it to them. El hanat asman shani, hachanami hanat asman shani. Vaz the Rava l'tamei damarava akum da'amele l'hay Yisrael katol asafsata b'shabta v'shad l'chiyuta v'lo katil n'lecha l'iktu lo l'katle. This is exactly the case that I said. If a non-Jew wants you to mow his lawn on Shabbos, and it's just because he wants his lawn mowed, so then you're allowed to mow his lawn. There's a song when I was growing up, Uncle Moshe, ain't gonna work on Saturday, triple, double pay, right? So, ain't gonna work on Saturday, and
It's Shabbos Kodesh.
right. So even if you were gonna kill me, I wouldn't work on Shabbos. No. When you kill me, I'll work on Shabbos.
That was
Missing
what I was
verse.
gonna say. That's not good enough if he's going to kill you.
Okay, now, the next thing we're not going to go into. The next thing is Ben Noach. We're going to stop here. Maybe next time we'll continue with the Gemara. We'll have to decide. We'll stop here in the Gemara and let's go to the sources. All right, here the fun's going to start. The truth is that actually, before you go to the sources, let's look at Tosfos over here on the side. It's a big Tosfos. We're not going to have time to read through the whole thing, but we'll find the parts that are relevant.
Esther?
Yeah, the Esther for Asiami. This Tosfos, you think this is big? Basically the same Tosfos appears, I think, in Yuma and in Ksubis, with almost all the same points, but written in a different way. This is like a really important. If you see this Tosfos, you can say that you saw like 1% of all Tosfos in the Gemara.
Was it the same Bali Tosfos who wrote it?
Not necessarily. No. I mean, the names are going to be the same names, but there's a different Baal Tosfos in every single Masachet. In other words, it can be taken from different volumes. Like in some Masachet it's Tosfos Harash, in some Masachet it's Tosfos Shams. It's different in each one. So the Gemara says, "Tema dahavli lakshui arayos have." This is the main question over here. If we assume that Esther did anything wrong by sleeping with Achashverosh, what was it that she did wrong? What Aveira is this? Gil Arayos. But Gil Arayos is one of the big three on its own. Who cares about Farhesya? It should have just said, Far Esther Gil Arayot Have. What did it say? That's the question bothering Tosfos. So he's going to give eventually two answers. This is the first one. The Havli Lakshri Arayot Havi, the Rotzech Menar Masa the Kuli Almi Harg Val Yavar, Kmo Ken Kasha Beresh Ksubos Damer, the Ikat Snuas, the Masr Nafshay. I'm going to try to skip past the questions and we'll get straight to the answers. Here we go. When it comes to sleeping with a non-Jew, because basically their zera is different than our zera. That's the idea. Okay, I don't think he's speaking biologically, but he is speaking halachically. He'll even go even further than that. He says, "Mishum rachmana avkei lezare deovid kuchavim kedamin beperek nosen halalusa dechtiv v'zermas susim zermatam." It's like their intimate relations is like the intimate relations between two animals, between two horses. They're just different species. We talk kach hayarot rabinatam lahatir bat yisol shehimira uba aleh over kochavim v'shuv nitgayer ima lekaima b'yahadut. Look at the kula that Rabinatam comes up with. The kula he comes up with is as follows. Imagine that a Jewish married woman, slept with a non-Jew.
Forcibly.
No.
No?
She had an affair with a non-Jew. She converted, quote unquote, to Christianity, right? You can't convert, but she did, from her perspective. She converted to Christianity, and she slept with a non-Jewish man. She had a relationship with him. And then she was chozeret b'tshuva, and she gives a get to her original husband, and she converts. She has the man she slept with convert to Judaism so that they can get married. Now, normally speaking, if a woman has an affair with a man, asur la boel v'asur la baal, she becomes asur both to her husband and to the man that she slept with. She can never marry him.
The ger is a new man.
But this ger is not only a new man, but also
New to the wife.
he wasn't even. Their encounter wasn't the real encounter.
You don't even have to say an affair. It was a mixed marriage at first. A Jewish woman with a Goyish husband.
Right, but then there's no Gil Arayos, at least, because she's Pnuya. She's single.
She can even get back to her husband then.
No, there was no husband.
Originally.
There is no husband.
There is.
No,
Mayor's talking about this case. This case where she.
We're talking about different cases.
No, but you can't give up a Judaism.
Wait.
No, he's saying. Okay, I understand.
And would the affair be counted?
Wait, she was married in the first place to a Jew, or not?
Over here it actually doesn't specify that she was
Right.
married. It seems like it was just a regular case, even not being married. I don't know why I remembered it differently, but it seems like it's just a regular case where she's not even married, but she slept with a non-Jew. Then he converts, and then which is, that happens a lot. But he says it's okay because it's the havia kabias behema. It's like she slept with a different species. That's what it's like.
And that's
From
okay?
the perspective of Allah, it doesn't create gila. It's not gila rayos of this order. So that's how Rabbi Yochanan gets around the Esther problem, right? She did something wrong, but it wasn't gila rayos. It wasn't gila rayos. If it was gila rayos, it would be asur on its own yag val yafa. But because it's only this, so it's only asur for hestia. The Heksha Rav Rabbeinu Yitzchak. So this is the Rivam, rather the Rivam of Yisrael Bar of Mordechai. You have a case in the Gemara that seems to imply that the case that I described, where a married woman would sleep with a non-Jewish man, that she becomes a surah to her husband. So it seems clear that is the case. Now. So now he has to answer the question why it's not Gila Arayos. Here. So go all the way down to the first wide line, the widest line, first of the widest line. At the end of that sentence, at the end of that line, it says Vahad de lo parich. Yeah? It says Vahad de lo parich. The Gemara doesn't ask. Hacha. Going back to the original question, according to the Rivam, why doesn't it ask that if it really is a Gila Arayos? It says the kinlei de mahani time de karka olam leinyan de lo mechayva limtor atzma mishum arayos. The hamirotzeach yalfinan. V'rotzech gufei ki mechayva limtor atzma. Hani min lekod misharag b'yadam. It says basically, I'm going to say it outside because we're going to see it in the Ran as well. It says basically the Rivam is going to say that it's not, everybody knew already that it's not gila arayos because she's karka olam, because she's passive. The only question was whether or not that was going to fix the farhasi problem, and that's what the Gemara is coming to teach you. In other words, in Achinami, it was gila arayos. But because she's karka olam, everybody agrees that was going to be fine.
But her Hesia doesn't know that she was karka olam.
Well, it depends what karka olam means.
Yeah, we're going to define, that was going to be my question. Yeah, we're going to define karka olam.
Yeah, we're going to have to define what that means.
Okay.
So, there are two options of what it can mean. One option is that women are always karka olam, because they're always, they're always the party that's being acted upon. Unless they seduce, in those cases they might be different. But the other option might be when she is being forced, if she doesn't want to be doing it, then that's karka olam. So the question is which one of those is going on over here. That I forget if the Ran goes deep into that. I don't think he goes really into that, but he does go into it a little bit. Go to the sheets. We're going to see this playing out in the Ran fully. So he says, "V'tiritz Abaye, the Esther karka olam Haita, Klamar Shalasta Shum Maaseh. She didn't do anything. Became a delo of the Shum Maaseh, Vafilu Haita Erva Mamish Daraita Ein La Limsorat Atzma Lamita. Shachar Shef Shalano Sota Bal Korcha. Since she could be completely raped and completely against her will, V'lasot B'Maaseh Matoil and Moseret Atzma Hariga Harei Lo Yargua El Shiyasu B'Maaseh Bal Korcha. Because even if she wanted to stop him, she wouldn't have been able to. So Tosas is claiming, according to the Ran, the Ran is claiming. The Ran is claiming that Abaye's teretz is that karka olam is a heter because she wouldn't have any option anyways. Even if she didn't want it to happen, it would have happened. And because of that, it's not an issue of farhesya.
This sort of belies the story of Esther to begin with. She was
exactly. She chose to go to the
she
palace.
chose to go into this beauty pageant and knowing that.
No, she didn't choose to go to the beauty pageant.
She didn't
choose to go into the beauty pageant. She wanted to. She tried to get out of the beauty pageant. But this night, when she told Mordechai, "Kasher avadati," that she definitely chose to go into his room, where we assume that they had relations. That's what we assume. That was definitely something that she chose to do. But what he's pointing out is that either way, he could have had her way with her. He could have had his way with her. So that's why it was okay.
He was the king. He could do what he was.
Rava gives a different type. It's fine. Now he quotes Tosfos. Okay, now he quotes Tosos, who starts to talk a little bit more about it. Let's look at it inside. Everybody knows that if a woman is about to be raped, she doesn't have to, kill herself, right? She doesn't have to kill herself to prevent it from being Gilei Arayos. Now, how is that so simple though? Maybe a woman should be willing to have herself be killed before she's raped. Imagine the case. The case we're talking about is as follows. Man puts a gun to the woman's head and says, you have to sit there and take it or I'm going to kill you. What should she do? Should she fight back and cause him to kill her? Or should she say, I'm not going to do anything and let him have his way with me? What should she do? What should she do? How would you figure this out?
Is the issue, is she being passive or not? If she's being passive, then she's not guilty of anything.
Okay, now where do you get that idea that being passive is okay?
From Esther.
No, but, okay. But if you wanted to give where did Esther get it from? In other words, where did Abaye get it from?
So there's a halacha that if she's raped in the field.
Yeah, that's a separate. There's a whole halacha about what happens if a
Right.
woman is raped. Yeah.
And therefore it seems she's not guilty.
Yes, but it still could be considered Gilei Arayos. From a Avera perspective, not that she's going to be punished for it. She's not, but. So Tosfos is going to take the following position. He's going to say, well, how do we know that Gilei Arayos is Yarg Yavar at all? Let's go back to that. How do we know that? Remember? From the Gemara. How do we know that Gilei Arayos is Yarg Yavar at all? What?
It's for Ritzicha.
From Ritzicha, right? Which means now we have to figure out a different question. What about passive Ritzicha? Now, what's passive Ritzicha? So take a look. So he says, "V'chein nami yesh lomar she'ein svara she'yimtzor atzmo lamita, kedei sheyatzil et chaveru min hamita. Kigon, im yomer lo hakuti." Imagine a narju comes to you and says, "She'argenu im lo yaniach lo laharog et ploni, or im yomer hanach atzmacha shenitcheu techa al tinok, kedei she'amud b'dechifa zot, o harog otcha." Guy comes to you and says, I'm going to have to turn off the YouTube, otherwise I'm going to lose everything. Sorry, people who are watching on YouTube, which is only one of you.